I was thinking. Okay. Oh, okay. We're gonna go ahead and get started in about 4 minutes. No.
Yeah. What are them, Mark? I need to read. I don't think that water's gonna fit it.
Only 2 kilos, I know.
Yeah.
Ready to fit there. Joyce with us.
Yes, I have. All right. Why are you?
Oh, wait. The main computer.
It's USB, I use it. Okay. Yeah.
Hear it now. Can you hear it now? I hear it now.
Now, how you doing? Nora, are you able to hear me? It's fine, it sounds good. Because it's something that they use, but they said it.
For those in the Zoom room, we're having a little technical difficulty with the speakers, so hang on for us.
Yeah. Okay. I can try.
Which one is the most?
Brian, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Brian, do you mind saying something?
Can you hear me?
Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and get started in a few minutes. We just in the meantime, if you haven't signed in, I put the link in the chat. It would be very helpful for us to know who's here and how we can communicate with any posts and their emails and things for the community.
Yes, food. We can have audio. It's working.
Surrounded by the enemy. And the quality of this force became very very thick because they haven't heard from it in a long time.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started then. I think we're working on the audio. If those in the Zoom room can't hear us, please let us know. But I think you're able to hear us now. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm Catherine Archuleta. Welcome to the CAC meeting, our July meeting. We're gonna go around the table in just a minute and in the Zoom room to introduce ourselves, but I wanted to remind everybody who is here tonight, and those of you who are new to the CAC, that we have an agreement on how we will work together in at all meetings, that we work by consensus in any sort of decisions that are being made. But most importantly, we want to remind ourselves that we collaborate based on respect and trust and openness and inclusivity. So we want to be sure that we're giving space not only to ourselves, but also others to raise their voices. Safe sharing environment. We want to foster the openness of our conversations, but we also want everyone to feel safe in sharing their ideas and considering new viewpoints. Again, I'll mention that we have a consensus decision framework that we use when any decisions are being made. And should we go into a decision-making situation, then we'll remind one another of what that process is. We also understand that the strategies and principles that we use within this meeting are the same that we use in any community-focused outcomes or meetings that we host. So with that, just as a reminder, of how we proceed, and this was a strategy and values that were developed by the CAC about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So we're gonna go around the table first, and then I'll go into the Zoom room as people are joining to introduce themselves, just name and your affiliation. And we'll start over here.
Hello, Brianna Winter, Smith from Water Recovery.
Hi, everyone, Steve Generally with the Authority, here's the National Center.
Mike Bouchard, Mayor's Office, the National Election Center.
Jessica Herrera, Community.
From Colorado.
Catherine,
Crystal Lang, Mayor's Office of the National Secretary.
Maureen Marita with National Western Center and Board. Arizona University, with the.
From the east, to the west, to the south.
okay, we'll go through the Zoom room. Let's start.
Maria
Oh,
and Tasia.
Buenas tardes, soy María Cala, soy residente de
Good afternoon, I'm Maria Clyde, I'm a resident of Alibi.
Hi, I'm Tasia Illyria, resident community member.
thanks, Maria.
Catherine, we have 80+ people on here.
Really? I think we probably won't, we can, unless anybody in particular wants to, bring attention to who that you're, attending. Since we have 80 people online, I think what we'll do is, save those introductions. Those of you who are online, just scroll through, you can see the names at the top of the screen, or the name on the screen. We have 2 pages. Can we scroll to the next page, please, so that people in the room can see who else is on? And see if there's one more page.
One of the things, I'm not sure if you heard at the beginning, I think we were having some audio. If you could sign in on the link that is provided via the chat, that would be very helpful. On just making sure that any communication after this meeting can be sent out, we have a few links that I would love to share out and have upcoming opportunities. So if you can fill that out, that would really be helpful. So I appreciate it.
I think we have one more page.
Really quickly to whoever moderating, can you hear me?
Are online and they're not on mute, it's a little hard for people online to hear. So I think it's just a reminder that everyone to,
Yeah.
mute themselves.
There's some kind of additional source.
I hear it.
It's television, some sort.
You are right.
That-
It's a Spanish radio or TV station.
Okay.
I don't know how to address it. If you have a truck.
Okay,
You know what? I did hear, I thought that was you doing it, but it's, there's like a different channel playing this.
Yeah, is there anything else going on with the computer? Everybody hears that song? That's the
Yeah, it
thing.
looks like everybody is muted. If I could have everyone mute themselves, that would be very helpful. It does look like everybody's muted though. It sounds like it's running through.
Lucia Johnson, could you please mute? Christine, can you please mute this?
So people that are muted.
Once again, if you're on, if you're in the Zoom room, please mute. Yeah, can they mute as a host?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, people to Christ.
It'll give everybody a chance to talk those.
I want to be sure that everybody who's in the Zoom room understands that they're the Community Advisory Committee of the National Western Center Authority. If you're in the wrong meeting, please, no, they're all in the right places, but yeah.
I can't do this. Just one person, what can I do? Right now, I'm gonna say,
Yes, and I don't.
just reading my Bible every day, have my quiet time. I'm just gonna settle for even being part of a Bible study group. I really can do.
Yeah, I would start there, yeah. Cause that doesn't seem to be helping.
And you begin.
It's next to your computer.
I'm not pointing fingers, but.
Right here, and you're watching a sports game.
It will not be long.
It is the
Crazy.
Okay. Okay.
We're in this.
Okay.
Okay, can people in the Zoom room, let me see, Miguel, can you hear us? Go off mute, please, and tell me if you can
I
hear
can
us.
hear you guys and that seems to have gone
No, we
away,
can't hear
that
Brian.
audio.
Brian, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm off mute. Can you hear me?
Did you change the speaker?
They can hear us. Brian, try now.
I can hear you, Brian. I don't know if they can.
Oh, we can hear.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's do this fast, too.
All right, so welcome to everybody in the Zoom room, 81 people in the Zoom room, so a lot of opportunity for conversation. We'd like to do some housekeeping, and Lori, will you take that over?
So first of all, if we could make sure that everybody's on mute, the problem was on our end, so it had nothing to do with you, but if you guys can make sure that you're on mute. We do have a link in the chat. If you could sign in, it allows us to be able to track and send emails out of any opportunities or community information that we could send out, and also get you more information on, free activations on campus, as well as some community partners updates. If you're in person, if you can sign in via the QR code, or just sign in physically, we would love. Sign in. Brian, are you able to hear me? Sorry, you're my guinea pig.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We have a hand up.
Yeah, Jen?
Can you hear us, Jen?
Yes, and sorry, there is no link in the chat.
Okay, I will make sure. I think when not everybody was on, so I will share it right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Also, another update is just to remind people, this is just a place where we can come, give some campus updates and partner updates. We will have a spot at the end of the meeting that if you are a community partner and have some resources or have an event that you would like to share out, that is an opportunity for you to jump in there. But we do have a lot of updates with Dottie and the triangle, so we're going to try to go through that, but please try to stay on so you can share that wonderful information. And if you have anything that you would like to email that you would like for me to share out with this network, please do as well.
Thank you, Lauren.
Mhm.
We're gonna go to the authority update. No, I have to, no, not yet. Are you gonna do the equestrian center?
No, I'll just go ahead and do my community update. One of the things I really wanted to talk about is we weren't able to have the We Don't Waste this past month because of the holiday, but we are having it on August 7th. We are moving that time to 9 to 11 to really support the heat wave that's been going on. I will share out, but there are 2 other markets that are in the Global area, Swansea, so please make sure if you're not able to do that Friday, there are other opportunities for you all to get food resources, and they are moving all of those food markets to 9 to 11. No longer 11 to 1 to get through the hot season. Another thing is we've got Compost Colorado. Obviously super grateful for all of the compost that you've given out to our community. I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to have you here on space and then have our community members be able to get compost. That's usually available Monday through Friday. Alex has made that spot really pretty, and he's got a nice little sign over there, so please, just if you need it, come get it. Market at the Center, our next one is gonna be August 8th. Our focus is really gonna be the back to school backpacks. There will be a link that I'll be sharing with here. Local area spots, they're the only ones that will receive the backpacks, for this back to school drive, but there will be a link that is sent out. We've got all ages because we really, realize the need for, the younger adults. Going into high school, as well as if they're not in a traditional school setting, we want to make sure that we're supporting like individuals that are doing trade or possibly any other education. So that link will be going out after this meeting. We do have a partner sign up right now, so I'm really trying to collect a lot of the resources that we can have on campus for Market at the Center. Currently, we have confirmed We Don't Waste will be bringing 500 food bags, non-perishable, so we don't have to worry about going through the market, but they will be giving out food bags to all the families. We're doing haircuts, we're having the backpacks. If they are not a local area Swansea, they will still receive a tote bag, a reusable tote bag, but our goal is to really focus on the local area of Swansea. So please, I know there's a lot of events happening in this next month with, our backpack drives in the communities, but if you can, please stop by. There's gonna be music and dancers and get a haircut, and it's for all ages. I will be sending that out, but like I said, that sign up list will be going out to our community, and we're really excited to have everybody there. And then the next one, we have the Mile High Long Table that's gonna be hosted here on campus. We're really looking forward to having that opportunity. It's gonna be over 5,000 individuals on campus, breaking bread with strangers, people people you've worked with, community neighbors. So if you have not received a link from me with your code to get in for free, please let me know, because it is an opportunity for our community to really show up and have that financial burden, but be able to have, dinner together, mile long table. There's a lot of wonderful things happening throughout that dinner, but I do know about a potential surprise and you don't want to miss it. We're going to be celebrating our 150th birthday for Colorado. So just a lot of really great things. I did want to talk about Focus Points is having their back to school event August 1st, as well as the block party for Valdez Perry Library. If you are available, please attend. They will have entertainment, music, all sorts of great opportunities. And this will be shared out as well. In that bottom part, I did put a link. There is a website out there that collects all of the resources for all of the backpack drives that are throughout Colorado. If our dates don't work, or if the community's dates don't work, they are posting those up until September. So this link will give you, it's like one great spot where you can see what's closest to you and what kind of services are being provided. So excited to just know that so many people are doing great things for the community and our kiddos. I did want to kind of do a shout out for Ducky Derby. If you weren't able to attend Ducky Derby, I just wanted to kind of give you an update. We had over 1,000 people on campus, just walking around inside CSU Spur, on the plaza, on the riverfront, really just well attended. We're really excited. We were able to race over 400 ducks, which is great because it was our first time doing the Ducky Derby. It'll be an annual tradition that we do on campus, and all the funds that are raised go to the Community Investment Fund. I didn't really want to do this update, but Mike Bouchard and Nwca, they won the championship. They got bragging rights for the year. They won the championship. They got the big trophy. But 53 community members were able to come that day and raise a duck. So we're just really grateful for that opportunity. Campus partners came together, seeing community members come together, and then also just to have see all of the duckies and see the kids really excited. So we just wanted to do a shout out there because it really was, such a fun event, and I'm hoping that every year it gets bigger and bigger and more attended.
Okay, Senator Lori. Thank you. Now, Steve, the question summary.
Sure, so every month we provide a update on the questions in our hotel, park garage, housing deal that we're still addressing and working on. We've never been closer. I typically say that, you know, in the similar spot last month, I think we're closer this month and we're continuing to progress. Can't wait, fair, we negotiated what's in the deal, as a reminder, the community benefit that we've all worked on together are very much intact in the deal and required by the project support agreement. We look forward to continuing that conversation, talk about community space, how we program it, things of that nature. Can't really give promises on when that's gonna happen, but hopefully soon. Any questions on that?
Any questions from the Zoom room? You see any hands up on yours? Okay. Yes.
All right. So I wanted to share some updates. Share my screen. We'll also be giving some updates on the Triangle Community Vision Plan, but I wanted to start with an event that happened here last night that hopefully you've heard about, or maybe where you go and join. The mayor gave his State of the City speech for 2026 at the Sioux Ranch Shoots Brothers Livestock Center last night. And if you have, you know, an hour and 45 minutes to spare and want to watch the video, you can. I'll put this link in the chat. There's also text of it that you can read through if that's more your speed. But there's a couple elements that I wanted to highlight that are very relevant to this campus and to GPS in general. The first is a concept that the mayor rolled out called the Mile High Line. And that is a series of projects starting up at the north at the Natural Western Center and sort of going in an arc along the river, including Parkville Golf Course, Ball Arena, Old Mile High, Burnham Yard, and Santa Fe Yards. And the Mile High Line is a concept that connects all of these together and gives us as a city a way to talk about how these transformative redevelopments are being done in a way that is helping our entire city grow in line with our values. And he talks about this much more eloquently, so I would suggest you watch his speech. But real quick, it's a number of different things. It's an economic strategy that creates thousands of new jobs for the city. The housing strategy that will create homes. It's focused on transit and bike and pedestrian connections. It's a climate strategy to create walkable neighborhoods with new parks and open space and electrification and geothermal, or in my case, city recovery. And it's an equity strategy that's focused in areas that have waited too long for investment. So that's the general framework. And there's a lot more information coming out about that. There'll be outreach around this idea. It's relevant to us because we are one of the named projects as the Natural Western Center. And he went even further and spoke in addition about specifically the city's vision for what we are doing in the Triangle. So if you are watching the video, it's at hour 1 hour, 19 minutes in, if you want to see that specific portion. But really, he sort of reiterates the vision that we've had is that we're sharing through the community vision plan about the growth and redevelopment of the campus being done in a way that is by community and with community and will benefit all of the GPS residents. So we can go into that a lot more, but I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that this is at the top of our mayor's agenda. It is one of his priorities. He is focused on this, and it is informing everything that we've been doing on Triangle. And he reiterated all of that very publicly. So we were excited to have him highlight the work that we're doing. So, 30 questions on that before we move into Triangle updates?
Can you see any hands up? Are there any in the room? Any hands up on the screen, Lori or Jenna?
It looks like AE does have, go ahead, AE.
You say AE, I'm not sure I heard.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you go back to the slide with the text from the State of the City text, please? One more slide
Yeah.
with the text, the excerpt. Okay, there's a couple things I did have an opportunity there was a number of lots of people from the neighborhoods at that last night. I wanted to point out something that can help us frame the discussion going forward with the concept of community ownership in the triangle. If you go down to the paragraph that starts with, as the new National Western Campus rises west of the rail lines. Okay, that's been enlarged now. I can't see all the text. Can you zoom back out? I can't see the text. Can you zoom back out a little bit? Okay, if you read, this can mean homeownership. It can mean last sentence. It can mean home ownership. We help support. It can mean community land trusts that keep property in community hands. It can mean neighborhood investment trusts that allow neighbors to hold shares in whatever development emerges. This is a critical contrast to highlight for discussion as we go forward in the Triangle Community Visioning Project and understanding what it means to have community land ownership with community control and leadership versus sort of what appears to be a public, that would be the community land trust, versus the mayor's preference, as he's stated himself, for neighborhood investment trusts, which are, my understanding is more of a public-private, more conventional real estate ownership where neighbors can buy shares. So without going into a bunch of discussion here, I'd like to just reinforce that that's part of the conversation going out in the neighborhoods with this. And it's really critical for us all to be able to get the information both from the mayor's administration, up front and transparently into the conversation while we continue from all directions to make the case from within the neighborhoods for different options. So for the sake of discussion, I just want to draw that out to deepen the conversation. And I have a non critical reservation. I'm a little bit, I want us to be aware that I hope we're not recreating the North Denver Cornerstone collaborative model with this, which we can discuss, because it kind of became somewhat of a overlay with the amalgamation of the projects. I'm totally receptive to lessons learned there, but I hope that that would be one slide. If you go back one slide, the graphic that has the groups right there. Sometimes when the citywide regional administrative priority is set, it can become a distraction from the unique vitality of the process within each project. And I'm not saying that to say this is not going to work, but I don't want us to romanticize. I just want us to really pay attention to how the relationships are set as we focus on each of these arenas. So I just want to put that out into the conversation for us all to go forward with as an aspect of what we can be aware of. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you. Mike, did you?
Yeah, I would just add to your last point, AE.
Yeah.
It does not, there is no intent to have an overlay district or organization in managing all of these. We as Nwca will continue to lead the redevelopment of the campus and the outreach and engagement around Triangle. In fact, in a lot of ways, we are sort of at the leading edge of a lot of where a lot of these other projects will follow behind, following the precedent that we set. So it doesn't change any of the kind of working relationships that have been longstanding, but it's a really fair point, and I appreciate you bringing up the NDCC concern.
Thanks, Mike.
So,
Yeah, that's all. And then we're going to turn over for a triangle. Oh, Shannon, do you have
Yeah, I'm kind of still processing this graphic, so I think I'm gonna have more later. Will we be talking about this in the triangle process? Like as we talk about the next session on community investment trusts and the upcoming sessions around community
certainly
benefits?
maybe less so the graphic, Because for us, we sort of already have our mission of what we're trying to accomplish with Triangle. So I wouldn't want to get necessarily distracted with that, but certainly the neighborhood investment or the community ownership models, how those can be used on the Triangle, is absolutely what we'll go next.
Okay, and I know you're saying there's no, like overlay or kind of group that's working on that, but, is there the thought or possibility of any kind of like, body that could bring these groups together, you know, and talk about the community benefits on all of those spaces? Because I hear you saying that you're very proud that the National Western's on the leading edge. And I feel like from a community benefits perspective, we really don't have a lot to show for that. And I get concerned sometimes when I see some of these other stadiums that are getting what we got, you know, which is not sufficient. Like the soccer stadium is getting like $200,000 a year, something like that, and we gave them $70 million in public funding. Like, it doesn't feel proportionate, but like, I think maybe that's being based on like what we're getting here, to your point of like, we're on the leading edge. So that makes me concerned for our whole city, that if we're not getting appropriate benefits here, then people in other neighborhoods also won't. And I think it would be appropriate to try to bring those groups together to talk about that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea. I haven't necessarily been involved at the kind of higher coordination level, but I will certainly bring that up with Millie and her outreach team, and make sure it's part of that conversation.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Other comments or questions? Can we check the Zoom room just to be sure? We're good. Okay.
And I'll hand it over to Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. I am going to be sharing a brief update of where we are at as far as community engagement and what we've heard during the recent housing and neighborhood stability workshops and really what's coming next in the planning session. I'll begin with a quick update on block captains. We have received 41 applications to date from community members interested in serving as block captains. We have accepted 19 individuals. I would say probably half the applicants are folks who are just outside the boundaries of GS. So as we mentioned at the beginning, the priority is to make sure that, you know, we're hiring within the neighborhood and that they meet the needs of being neighbors with you all. And so that is why we only have 19 and 41 applicants. I just want to make sure I explain that. And of those 19, we have 15 active. So a couple of folks who were just hired on recently who need to go through onboarding and get them trained so that they can start knocking doors. So we will be getting the new applicants all onboarded to hopefully have the full 19 applicants active in the next couple of weeks as we continue through the program. As we move into the next phase, block captains will continue to serve door-to-door outreach, workshop promotions, questionnaires and conversations with their neighbors, and we'll cover that here in a little bit too. We have done some updates to the website, the public website for the project. You will see in there past workshop materials that are now available online, including, you know, additional meeting recordings and current questionnaires that are available. If you missed any of the workshops, you're able to see them recorded for you to decipher whenever you have time. We want to make sure that, you know, folks who aren't able to make the workshops in person are still able to get that information. Along with those workshops, you'll see short questions that were asked of community members during the workshop. So typically some of our activities have specific questions that we ask. And so those folks will still have an opportunity to answer those questions online. And so right now it's all up to date during phase 1. We'll be continuing to add the last couple of rounds of the housing workshops that we just completed this month. But you will see some more updates on the website that are posted, and as far as, survey data goes too, and the reports that we covered, during the guidance team meetings are also online. So we encourage everyone to visit the National Western Center webpage regularly, for any meeting information, any project materials. We'll be continuing to update it on a regular basis.
Can you add that link to the chat? So it's
Yes.
readily available?
Yeah. I will add it. Our favorite piece, our sandwich. So bringing this back in, as a reminder, this graphic really serves to include some of the interconnected layers that we have covered throughout this project. At the foundation, we really have some of the site characteristics, infrastructure, which we've covered. We are right now on housing and neighborhood stability. And our next phase is going to be moving into those community benefits, priorities, funding, and financing. So our recent workshop really has focused heavily on housing and neighborhood stability, while also recognizing, that we do have some interconnection between all of these layers, and we understand that. And so we're trying to tackle one thing at a time, but definitely everything is going to be interconnected. And the idea is that we kind of center some of the conversations around these, but they'll all come back together for us to connect during our next stages of planning. We, as I mentioned, have focused on housing and neighborhood stability. We had 3 workshops, 2 in June, 1 in July, and we'll have an additional workshop as well. We wanted to make sure that we focused on housing needs, different housing types, and a broader neighborhood context in these last workshops in June and July. And so, these were kind of held, as I mentioned, in person. So we have provided recordings for folks who weren't able to join us in person. Across the workshops, the goal was to make sure that, community members understood the range of housing, and really for us to also understand what was the need from the community and what they were envisioning for the space as well. And so residents are able to share their lived experiences, their concerns, and their priorities in these workshops. And here are some pictures of kind of what those look like. We were able to do them in the Global Rec Center. We had some really great attendance. So thank you all so much for coming out and really, sharing your concerns and making your voice heard. We are, hoping that continues throughout the next couple of workshops. We want to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to participate and engage as we go through the next couple of workshops as well. We, as I mentioned, covered during the June 23rd workshop, we covered in small groups, activities and conversations, really what the housing types were. And so this is a graphic that the planning team wanted to make sure to include around the range of housing that was discussed in those workshops. Residents, discussed what types of housing could really be appropriate for the triangle, and who the housing should serve, and how new development could reflect the needs of the existing Global, Elyria, and Swansea residents. And so there was recurring themes. We made sure to take note of those as we continue through the conversations. And as I mentioned before, there's just interconnection between all of the different themes that we have surrounded around the workshops. And so we'll make sure to bring that all back together at the end of all of the workshops. One of the questions that we did online during one of the housing workshops that we were able to do was, what defines the look and feel of your neighborhood? And we had some really great participation and some folks who shared out what that looks like. And as you can see here, it was a word cloud. It took big main words from statements that people shared online. So this isn't exactly what, the entire statement that they did write, but this is the big pieces that came out that were repetitive in those answers. And as you can see, it's trees, yards, diversity, children, parks, stores, community. It really was a wide range, and those are kind of repetitive that we continue to see throughout the workshops as well. During the July 16th workshop, we were able to talk about some of the programs that the city does offer. So we had host attend and give an update on the programs that are available to Denver City residents. We also had examples of ownership models and had GS Coalition present, Tierra Colectiva, the Community Land Trust And we were able to have some small group discussions around what those different presentations as far as ownership models went, and a lot of the community did share, their hopes and aspirations for what those programs would look like in the Triangle area.
So, I did hear about that presentation. Is there only one ownership model or is there multiple? Because I know if Nwca did present, is she sharing what the general model is, or is?
She shared
There's
the
multiple.
community land trust model.
Okay, so the community land trust, but there's only one way of doing it.
There's
or
multiple,
others?
there's multiple examples of ownership models. That was just one of them that a lot of folks had questions around, and so we gave them the opportunity to present on what that was.
Would there be an opportunity to hear other different models as well? How does that happen?
You're happy to reach out to us, and I can direct you to the planning team who does the community.
But it's not gonna be.
Oh, it's at the next workshop.
Oh,
Yep.
we
Yes.
had another one on the agenda that night. We ran out of time.
Yeah,
Oh,
as always, we have more on our agenda. than we
which is
just-
fine. It's fine.
So,
Yeah.
it just rolls. So yes, that's coming up in there. And just maybe to put a little finer point on that, we don't envision any single community ownership model across the entire area. We're gonna need probably elements of all these different pieces and tools in the toolbox to achieve the goals that we put.
Yeah, and just to add to that, in the plan that the GS Coalition put together, they also say the same thing, like basically it's too large of a parcel of land to say that, but the desire is for there to be a large area that would be in the neighborhood land trust and the GS plan. And the other thing I would say to your question, Lori, is that what is distinctive about the GES Tierra Colectiva land trust is that it is governed by people who live in the land trust. There are other land trusts that are seemingly bigger, but they are governed by philanthropists and they're not governed by people who live in the land trust. And that part is really important to us and to members.
No,
Name C.
oh, was there another question? Yep.
Yes.
Amy?
AE,
Oh,
go
was
ahead.
that me? Sorry, I'm having a little trouble here. I just wanted to reinforce something in response to what Laura, you were asking, are there going to be other models? There has always been discussion of different models, and I think that the 3D rendering confirms that. And there was very good progress made at the July 16th workshop, in my estimation, of neighbors getting accurate information among themselves to bring a lot more harmony going forward in discussing the possibility of a multi-model solution. And this is partly because the way that workshop was facilitated, much credit to OV, was it is in a sense undoing some damage that has accrued in the way engagement has unfolded in these neighborhoods in the last 15 years that I've seen. And I'm not saying this to be contentious, but I'd like to put to rest the myth that there have been restrictions on different models being discussed, and that this is not a competition between models. We're going to have a constellation of solutions, and I'm hoping we can make it continue to build on what the breakthroughs were at the July 16th work group. So I'd kind of like us to go forward with that awareness of a long tradition of there being a lot of discussions, none of them are mutually exclusive. And if we can get to facilitating that more developmentally into our scenario planning and visioning, then we can move forward in a really deep and constructive way.
Thank you, AE. Other comments or questions? Anything else for Elizabeth?
There's other ways to continue to stay involved. We'll have an August guidance team meeting for those folks who are part of the guidance team meetings. As I mentioned, those are also open to the public, so if you ever want to hop in, feel free to attend. We are planning an additional housing workshop We are waiting to hear some dates from the planning team and we'll circle back around that housing workshop, that last housing workshop date. And then the next series, as mentioned, is gonna be the community benefits and the funding and financing series of the workshops. So those will come after our last housing workshop. And then in the fall, we'll start those scenario workshops and start thinking about survey number 2.
Comments, questions?
I do have a question about these community meetings. I was told the last one is not with the virtual option.
They're not, no. So the planning team, it's difficult to have folks participate both in person and virtually. Especially when it comes to these bigger housing workshops, when we're wanting to hear from all of the community, and to break up the planning team to hear everybody directly. And so what we found it easier was to be able to host completely 100% of the folks in person, so that we're able to listen to them, follow up directly in person, and then have folks be able to see the workshop online. So having a recorded version and have those same questions in a questionnaire that folks are able to still participate in. It'll probably be the model moving forward. We will still at the end of each series have an option for folks to join us virtually. So there is still a virtual component. It's just not going to be hybrid for the workshops. And then as always, please feel free to stay up to date and sign up for any on our website for our meeting notes and our communication, so that we're able to get you all out everything that's happening.
Anything else for Elizabeth?
We've got Brian with Dottie that should be presenting next.
Yes, it is. Brian?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
And I am not with Dottie, I am with Nwca.
The dots.
Sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead and go to the next slide.
You may want to get a little bit closer to the mic, Brian.
Okay. Is that better?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Project, Brian.
Project. Okay. We have the map here for the GES impact map. We'll start with that. Starting at the top left-hand side, the 51st Street project. There is a closure of Clarkson Street and a closure of 52nd Street between Clarkson and Emerson. The go around for that, the detour for that, is the new portion of 51st. I think I covered this in the last meeting, that that is now open in both directions from Washington all the way into the campus and into the new Heron Pond, Carpio Sanguinetti Park. Dottie Washington Street project, the main portion of work on that has shifted south. SEMA, the main contractor, is now working between 50th and 49th. And they had the traffic shifted over to the side. So it is two-way traffic going through there, and they are working on the east side of the road. That'll be in place for the next couple of months. So it should be fairly stable there. Excel is working further south, mostly on the shoulder. Today, they did have a single lane traffic operation in place to do some work. There was a little bit of a miscommunication on their part in terms of that work, that they were going to have a single lane closure. I normally would want to get that out to you guys as a community, but there was a little miscommunication on that. But we are working through that. There shouldn't be a single lane closure in there. It should be 2 lanes or 1 lane each way. That's pretty much the big items that are happening along Washington. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, We discussed this project in the last meeting, but the Dottie 51st and Steel Green Infrastructure Project, they have mobilized on this project, and they do have a single lane closure around the north and west sides of the park. You can still get through there, but it's single lane traffic through there. But that is, they should get underway on that soon. They have mobilized and put up the construction fence for that. Any questions on impacts? All right, moving on to the next slide. The 48th Avenue Greenway and Betty Cram Drive Bridge construction project. This is moving forward. We discussed this in the last meeting. SEMA is the contractor for Washington. They also won the bid for this project as well. So they will be doing both the bridge and the Greenway project together. Those were bid together. Their notice to proceed, so basically when they'll fully be under contract, is going to start on the 3rd of August. And they probably won't actually begin mobilizing out there until closer to maybe late September, early October. But they need to get rolling on ordering materials and the bridge components and whatnot. So look for construction to begin on that in October. Construction is 1 year on this bridge. I'm sorry, go back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. There's some renderings there so you can kind of get an idea. As we've talked about before, it's the same artist that's doing the art. So if you've been on the 51st Street Bridge, you'll get an idea of what this bridge is going to look like. And it's the same, it's in the same theme. I believe this is the Moon Bridge, the People's Bridge of the Moon. So the other one was, I think, the People's Bridge of the Sun. So it'll have the same theme, but again, beautiful art along that bridge. Next slide. I wanted to keep you guys updated on the upcoming trail detours. As you guys know, there's been a trail detour for the bike trail that's been along Washington. That is going to be going away soon. And it will be open from 46th Avenue going north. However, that's not, that will change in the coming months as the construction for Betty Cram Drive Bridge and Greenway starts, and the next phase of the levee project starts. So in September, the trail detour they're going to start working on the portion of the trail that's near McDonald's. So they will now need to detour the trail from Globeville Landing Park through the Coliseum parking lot and then up 46th, and then it will put you back on the trail at 46th Avenue at the bridge. That's happening in September. We don't have an exact date on that yet. They're still kind of finalizing the plans. And for the next meeting, I'll have, well, actually, we'll send out an email to everybody who's on the GES POP list with a map once we have it. They're finalizing the final plans for that. And then in October, when the Betty Cram Drive Bridge and Greenway project starts, there'll be some further adjustments to the trail. That's pretty much all I have on updates. The next slide is just some QR codes that you can just put your camera up to, and it'll sign you up for the impacts and the GES POP eBlast updates. Are there any questions, comments on anything that I shared tonight?
Sometimes when somebody's on their phone, they don't get to see the slides as wonderfully. You could put those in.
Can you say that one more time?
Could you add the links in the chat just in case somebody's on their phone and are not able to take a picture of the QR code?
Yeah, I can update the slide, my slide deck, and I'll put that in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Anybody in the Zoom? You can see this? No.
Hey Lori, that link was on that slide, I believe.
Yeah, it's just if somebody is on their phone, they can't necessarily take a picture of the QR code because they're
Yes,
on
there's
their.
a written, the website is on there.
Oh, okay.
So when you share that deck out, it will say .egs program of projects page, I believe, but we'll double check that.
Okay, thanks. All right, CSU, Eduardo is not here today, so I was hoping that I could just do a plug for some wonderful news that we heard today. The CIF we were able to get the number of what their contribution was, and it's 200,773. So those funds will go back into the community investment fund, hopefully into the programs in the Global area, Swansea, neighborhoods, and just wonderful. They're having, I don't let Shannon talk, but she's got their celebration coming up, and it's open to the community to attend and celebrate previous grantees as well as the upcoming cycle 3 grants. Yeah, if you want to just go, and then we'll just go into lead it off into community partners.
Sure. Yes, we have our, louder, sorry, thank you, Gail. I'm Shannon Hoffman, I'm the project manager for the GS Community Investment Fund. We just completed, so Lori is giving the numbers for what will be grant cycle 4, but we just completed grant cycle 3. We granted out $100,000 to 19 projects and organizations in Global area and Swansea. They're all on our website, gscommunityinvestment.org, if you want to see those. And we will celebrate all of them tomorrow, Thursday, July 23rd, from 5 to 7 p.m. In the Legacy Center. There will be finger foods. There's free parking. I don't know what that lot is. It's where the parking was last night for the Beers.
Just north of the CSU Vita building.
Yes, that's the right direction, yes. North of the CSU Vita building, where the horses are. Just on the other side of that. You can park over there for free and then walk over. And it'll be on the 2nd floor. It took that long of a walk.
I thought maybe we take one.
Next year.
They have one every year.
So yes, you're welcome to attend, and we hope you do.
Awesome, thank you so much. And I did want to have Steve go ahead and give us an update.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, we received a lot of feedback from the CAC, also in our board meeting, regarding the grant agreement that others that we transfer annually. Historically, the grant has been fairly open. Very few parameters, recognizing that sponsorship restricted and would have been a benefit this way. CIF is to really distribute those dollars, use those dollars for the benefit of GS. So I just wanted to mention where we stand with the grant agreement.
They're unable to hear you. Marcy just said they are unable to hear you because they turned off that microphone, so.
You're on the, this is my grant.
Here's one right here.
How's that? Testing 1, 2.
Much better, thank you.
So, and Shannon, please jump in here, as we've worked with the CIF on a number of these items. I just wanted to high level talk about some of these things. First of all, the reporting requirements, we're asking.
Sorry. Actually, I know you just, and I'm gonna be totally transparent with everyone. I know you just texted me, but I don't feel comfortable with this because the parallel where you will not share anything in the development agreement from the equestrian center and hotel before it's signed.
Right.
We haven't signed this yet, so I don't feel comfortable with that.
Understood. That is very much a confidential negotiation, right? And these are requirements that that we as the authority think are important, that the community is aware of these discussions because the money is for the community. So I'm not going into detail. I just want to cover some of the high level categories around reporting requirements, transparency, board structure and governance, things of that nature. I just want, we received a lot of questions from this group around where are we in the process? Can we participate in the process? And I want to make sure that people are clear that where we stand and the types of topics we're discussing. The parallel to the equestrian center is that we talked about a lot of these details as well with this group, and I've mentioned that those things are also making it into the deal at a high level. Don't plan to provide much more detail than that. We are going to make the grant agreement available on our website once it is finalized. But just want folks to be aware of where this stands. Anything you add, Shannon? The things that you guys are, what you're comfortable sharing now?
I don't know what I'm comfortable sharing now because I wasn't prepared for this. You texted me while we were in the meeting. And I think this is another example of how complaints about the CIF get conflated into bigger issues than they are. There have been requests from community members to understand what's been going on in this negotiation process. And I have reached out to those community members to talk to them. And they have not taken up the offer to have that conversation. And I don't necessarily think this is being a good partner. We have not signed that. And there are things in there that we have let you know that we are uncomfortable with because you are holding us to a standard that you are held to, as we have said to you in these calls, as a multi-billion-dollar organization that's quasi-governmental, that has multiple staff people. We don't have that. And we are trying to come to an agreement with you because of how much we care for our community and want these dollars to flow into our community. And we want to ensure that community members have the final say over where those dollars go. And I'm not saying that we won't come to a conclusion with you. I think we will. And if you choose to talk about it, that is your choice. I think this is interesting. I don't know that I feel comfortable with it.
Is there parts that you can share from that?
I guess my question, can I, so you are the person who has asked Samda, can we hear about the agreement? And I did reach out to you directly and you didn't respond and you said you wanted to hear from Steve. And so maybe can you say what you want to know about?
Has to be an open process.
I'm gonna stop both of you. First of all, don't interrupt one another. Okay, because we've agreed to that.
Yeah.
Let everybody finish the sentence. And at some point, we're going beyond what the CAC is entitled to discuss at its meeting and what you all need to discuss in the CIM. So I just want to remind you of that. Do not interrupt each other, listen to each other carefully.
And we do have a question online from Rebecca.
Rebecca, after the conversation between Shannon and
Sandra,
I'm sorry, Sandra.
Yo forget my name.
No, I don't. I have some reasons that, unfortunately. Yes, we'll have this conversation and then we'll go to Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it has to be, and that's one of the issues that I know you sent me an email, but I really like to see that to be public, to be, because I know there's a community here, like we have to have an open, just like we always ask the national website to do it publicly and be transparent. We also have to do that to everyone because we're the community. We want to know what's going on, what's happening, what's not working, what's working, and all those things. I don't think that's something that we have to do it in private. I think we have to be open. And if there's parts that you can share on that agreement, that it doesn't involve more private things that you're working on, I think that it has the right to know about those things.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. I actually appreciate you also suggesting slow down and let's listen to each other because like in something like a union contract, right, or some kind of thing, there is a public component of that, then you come back, then you know, and I think that could be an important part of this process. I guess my rub with what's happening right now is that usually in that process, like those parties are prepared for that. They come to the meeting like prepared for that, they bring people with them, then they go and negotiate a little more, and then they come back, and that hasn't been what has happened now. So, and that's neither of our fault, actually, it's kind of a situation that we're put in. But I hear you on wanting it to be more of a public process, because I think we'll build some community coalition around that, you know?
I'm gonna move to Rebecca.
Thank you. So I feel like the main concern is transparency. I think that is like the highlight of this conversation is transparency and accountability for everybody involved. You know, like Sandra mentioned, when we're proposed with meetings in private, that's not conducive, and you're leaving out community at that point. At that point, it's just a one-on-one. And I feel like that is the missing key piece in all of this is community. So I just wanted to add that.
Thanks, Rebecca.
So I would just respond by saying, the intent of bringing this up was to not, you know, negotiate in bad faith, right? We are having a discussion in good faith. There are things that we are asking you guys to do, and there are things that we need to hear back from you on. Right? I do not intend to discuss those tonight because that is a conversation that we're having. But at the higher level and the categories around these things, they are about transparency and trying to add additional requirements and process. So that is more open, and so the community is more aware of decision-making and yeah, I'll leave it at that, decision-making of the CIF and how that impacts the benefit of the GES communities. So that's really my update. That was the intent. We have a number now. Mincy worked really hard on that number. As far as all the various sources that come in to support it's 200,773. That's 200.
I know.
773, not 207. Or 270. And those sources are from Roundup, right, at points of sale, at concession stands and bars. When you go to a concession stand, you are asked to add a percentage for this CIF. You go to a bar, you're asked to add $1. That's because they're different. They're staffed differently, and they're paid differently, the people working those different bars versus concession stands. We also had about just over $15,000 in ticketing fees, which is new for this round. And so every event that is ticketed, and not every event is ticketed, but the events that are ticketed, we are negotiating event by event to try to get a portion of the ticket fees to be contributed to the CIF. Our Campus Energy Centrio, our operator, provides a direct contributions 4,000 into that. The Coliseum is rounding up. Also, the National Western Complex with the existing city-owned facilities on the other side of the tracks, the hill or the buildings that are in the triangle today are also rounding up during those events, and so all of those dollars come together to make up that 200,000.
I would also just add quickly see that it's interesting how only like 50,000 was raised in the last half of last year, and how most of the money was raised this year. So we're only going to see growth going forward.
We also have another, we have a pouring rights contribution that we negotiated with this is non-alcoholic pouring. That started in the beginning of 2026, that was not paid out to the end of 26. And so there's just based on our timing in the fiscal calendar that will show up in next year's contribution. But just wanted to highlight where those dollars are coming from, provide a brief update. That's it.
So I'm gonna try and summarize. I'm gonna try and summarize. So you now have, everybody here has information on where the sources of money for the $200,773 have come from. You've also heard a very quick overview of the negotiations. And Shannon has expressed concern that we're not going into detail. I hear you not going into detail. And I also hear from community that they want to hear more quickly the detail of the negotiations. And that I think you two have heard that. So we also know that there's these folks who, all of us here who are not in those negotiations. So I just wanted, is that a good summary of what has occurred? Okay, so we're not gonna negotiate it here. You've expressed, and you've expressed. It's now in the video, in the minutes of the meeting. Are there any other comments about that? And are you comfortable with the way we're moving forward?
I have to, I think, this can and should inform our process in the future, and if we want to have a public process, we should think about that from the beginning and kind of design it as such. And I think we would be open to that. And I appreciate you sharing about the funding sources. You know, one of our ongoing requests, also transparency, is that we would get to be in some of those negotiations so that we could understand how do you get the pouring rights and how many percent of it is there? How do we get more revenue streams on the campus? There are a few things that you said that I don't, could be nitpicky, but my understanding is that, and it is true at Stock Show, right, that like only SSA and National Western concessionaires are the ones where you can round up. So it's not every concession stand. So I just think there's important things for our whole community to know, and I wanna make sure that's on record too.
Can I also add too with regards to the concessions, even if they are an approved vendor, they have to actually ask you or bring it up. Like, they don't just bring it up, they have to be willing to do that. That's from my own personal experience going and interfacing with people, and it's not, there's no information about it. So if you happen to have somebody working that vendor at that booth who cares enough to be like, oh, by the way, do you want to do this thing for this thing? This is all you have to do. So it's not even targeting, it's not hitting all the opportunities, even with just that low glass ceiling. Or the low floor, whatever.
Yeah, so if you are going to a concession stand, there's a sign that says.
It's hard to find it, it's hard to see it, and they don't talk about it.
Understand, this is something that we work with the CAF on and with our concessionaire on, that it's high volume, it's a lot of people, it's someone working at a concession stand that may not understand, right? We do trainings, right? We invite the CAF to those trainings. We try to make it simple to where there's a sign so they can understand how you're contributing. We've tried the other way where we have someone try to explain it and it hasn't worked out that well. That's a concession stand. At a bar, you're likely not going to be asked, and that's something that we're trying to work through as well. Because it is a different structure and oftentimes the people working the bar want a tip and don't wanna feel like they're adding a bunch of dollars. So something that we're definitely working with SSA on to ensure that they are asking for the dollar because the transaction works a little differently. Because they're paid differently.
Yeah. Well, thank you for
Yes.
explaining that. I just wanted to share my personal experience.
Good.
Sandra?
Yeah, I just have a question for Steve. So what happens after, like, if there's no, you don't come to an agreement on the, what is it, agreement? What if you guys don't come to agreement? What happens with the fines? What happens with the other?
I don't think that's gonna be a conclusion here. I think we are gonna come to an agreement. There's a willingness from both sides to make it happen. So we'd rather not even opine on what I think, you know.
But you would report back if such a situation occurred.
Yeah, I mean, the money needs to be accompanied with a grant agreement. Right, and so we would continue to work on it until we reach something, but I think we're close and I think, it's gonna happen.
Lori? I did want to add, for you, Amanda, I have seen, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a CIF logo that does come on the POS. So if somebody is not talking to you about it, it doesn't come up.
The policy.
Oh, okay.
Our POS system.
Okay.
Actually, we just met with them today and then talked about that they were almost close to getting that completed with the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other comments? Questions?
You guys consider doing anything like registration of animals and things like that? Like people who are coming in to actually show or sell or anything? Like taking a percentage of those fees, like when they're registering a bull or something?
So, kind of the private transaction. We have talked, that's a stock show conversation. We are having that conversation. Right now it's really with our vendor. Right, and stock shows vendor. When there is a kind of public or retail point of sale as a contribution. So yeah, there are a lot of ideas. We've heard that idea before. Also in the privates, because there are private sales that happen. In the yards especially. Between individuals, that one's difficult, right? Because we don't know who these individuals are and when it's happening, and these are just, transactions. That are not hosted by, an entity that we're affiliated with, so.
So things used just like a small thing.
Yes. Right. Not our event, Sasha's event, something that we're talking.
Other questions or comments? Anything in the no? Okay, anything else we have on other community updates?
No, I mean, I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to talk about things that they're doing, anything they can share with other community members that we can participate in. That's usually, I know that Noah and I spoke earlier today, he was going to do a little announcement.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and it's really great to be here. Just a little update from your friendly campus composters. We have some additional opportunities for the GES community to divert some of their organics. We understand that not everybody has access to, or sometimes you have more yard debris or yard waste than you can handle, and would like to contribute to a local neighborhood circular waste system. And we're accepting 2 bags of yard debris from GES neighbors at our facility on the last Friday of every month. We run that event from 3 to 6, and we want to invite you to participate. If you've got that yard debris in a compostable paper bag, we will take it, we will make something useful out of it, and then you can go ahead and also participate in the GES offering composting bag as well. And, just as since, I have compost on the brain. Some of us have compost on the brain a lot. I certainly do. And this is a really fantastic time to be spreading some compost. As we all know, it's been remarkably dry in our community. I know that I'm paying a lot of attention to the trees that are on campus, the trees that are in our neighborhoods. And as those leaves wilt, you lose a lot of the moisture in the atmosphere close to the ground. And that contributes to the heat island effect that we experience here in GES and in the kind of central Denver neighborhoods. Spreading compost now, right before we get all this rain, is a great way to trap as much moisture in your soil as possible. And just want to encourage everybody to take advantage of the offering. And if you have additional kind of landscapes that you're interested in maybe receiving a little bit of support in spreading that compost, we are available and would love to contribute. So please reach out. We don't have an endless supply, so I do want to make that clear. We can contribute 10% of our production, and that allows for a little bit more than we're currently giving out, although not a whole ton. And we will make every effort to satisfy the requests of the neighborhoods here. So please reach out. my contact information, should be available to you, Lori, and I can certainly connect if you would like to do that. And encourage all of the campus partners as you consider more developments, to try and encourage the spreading of this compost, because it will contribute to a much more sustainable landscape, more comfortable one at that. Let's trap as much moisture that's on the way as we can.
And that's July 31st,
July 31st.
3 to.
3 to 6.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great news. And there's much more in the forecast. The more compost you spread, more of that stays in there.
Yeah.
I have a question, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So, I know you're not with the city, but talking about compost, who do I contact? Because they stole my compost bin, the green one that.
The big green one.
And the recycle bin, so I have a recycle bin, I have a compost bin, and the large one, so.
It's like wastewater.
For that.
So Dottie, I believe, manages the city's program, and the CASR office as well. So that is a city conversation. Campus Colorado doesn't do single family collection. If you had a green bin, that's a city question. If you're in a multifamily building or you run a business, that's more of our speed, and we can be supported in those ways. So sorry, Sandra can.
So that happened to me. You actually can go online.
Yeah.
And order them and just tell them that it was stolen and they'll bring one out.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they'll bring it to you.
Yeah. No, they're-
Thank you.
Brianna?
Yes. We're launching our art contest for the utility box. It's right on National Western's campus near CSU Spurs. So it's like near 48th and Betty Cram Drive. Maybe you've seen or not noticed a very boring green cabinet that keeps getting graffitied. We welcome art from the community, but we'd love to see lots of options, make sure they're in line with what the community wants to see and Metro's vision for environmental stewardship. For those of you who don't know, we do wastewater. There's a huge pipe underneath the campus that you don't see, but we're moving millions of gallons of water every day underneath you. So I've got flyers in the back. We're looking for community designs you can submit, and it's open for 2 months, so no rush. Get your ideas together, and we'll close the contest September 13th, and then we'll open it to a vote. So even if you don't want to submit art, you can look at the top 3 to 5 and vote for your favorite to make sure we pick something good to go right there along the South Platte River Trail. It'll be great. So thank you for considering.
Thank you. I'll be sharing it out.
Yes.
Emails as well.
Thank you.
There's a Chevy Traverse upside down, it's raining.
Oh,
Oh,
Just want you.
thank you.
Yes, very good that it's raining.
Anybody else with community updates? Sandra?
Yeah.
No, you,
Oh,
I don't know what I was doing.
So, we're gonna do, Cafecito with elders, which is gonna be for community, our community that is 60 and up. And this is with the Triangle Plan, Triangle Vision Plan, as one of the organization groups. I created a plan to target our elders and our teens. Because I think our elders are 30. And we need to hear from them. And our youth, our teens, they're the future of these neighborhoods. And I want to also hear from them what they want to see at the triangle. I think their voices matter. And sometimes we don't really bring them to this kind of project. So and sometimes it's hard to bring youth into meetings or our elders because they don't drive or anything. So that's what we're doing, and I'm gonna do it in different places. Next one, the first one and next one is gonna be at Mountain Library on the 29th, 10 to 12. And just to let them know about what is the triangle vision plan, what they want to see there. It's more like a conversation, talk about also the history, how long they've been living here. And also, we already started Sabor Comunitario at CSU. This is our 3rd week, I think, and they did a safe certification. They're all passed in the first group. Passes all the tests, 22 students, from 18 to 74 years old. So there's this lady that she doesn't speak English, she never used a computer, and because everything is online, so she was one of the first people that passed the test with 74 years old. And it's very heartbreaking because she was talking about how her own family was telling her that she wasn't gonna pass, because she doesn't know how to do anything. They were very mean to her before coming to the class. So she couldn't even believe it. She was just sitting there for half an hour after she finished. But she couldn't believe it. So those are the things that is really great to see about the program. So they've been learning different techniques. They learn how to do life skills, different types of cutting, and this past week they learned how to do chicken tikka masala. Like it's a lot of things that they're learning. Monday they're gonna learn how to do pasta from scratch with a wooden roller. So, and they're very excited. After that, we're gonna enter into the entrepreneurship part, whether they wanna create a product, how can they create it, the brand and everything. So it's a very complete program, and this is our 6th program, I think, that we're doing.
Thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah, and they were able to be part of the second Saturday, getting out samples of aqua frescas as well as samples of the geographs. And they will be catering next month CACs. We're really looking forward to having that. Awesome. And I know Focus Points isn't here, but they have a farmer's market every Friday. So please sign up. You get $20 to shop for the fresh produce, and they have a lot of different resources, but they host it every Friday. Sandra and I will be there this Friday, just kind of sharing information and hopefully more resources on for the community.
They still also have some air purifiers and portable air purifiers, so we can apply for those.
Through Focus Points?
Specifically. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, specifically for the 80216.
Oh, that's amazing. I know we had a community member that was looking for an elder for the air conditioning.
So it's primarily for, they're prioritizing people who are 50 or 55 and older, or people with children.
Oh, perfect. No, that's amazing. I think, Rebecca, I think you were looking into a resource for an elder. The Focus Points, it seems like they still have some.
Yeah, it was the cooling units.
Oh, the cooling units? Yeah. It's the air purifier and the cooling units.
Yeah.
So I think she's suggesting you get a hold of Focus Points, they're making some available.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other announcements? Looks like there may be plenty of food.
Yeah.
So help yourself. All of you in the Zoom room, thank you. And we're sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning, but we hope to see you next month at our August meeting. So good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
So does the